What's going on, everyone? Just want to do a quick video about Nioh. This is going to be my first impressions based off the beta. Obviously, the full game is not out yet, and I'm still trying to figure out when it's actually coming out. I read in October that it's coming, which is very, very soon, and we already know October is a packed month for games. So I would not mind if this game is pushed back a little bit, but even if it did come out in October, I'm definitely buying this game. I'm really enjoying this game. And I kind of just want to talk about it real quick with you guys. Just some things, some key elements of this game that I took note of and what I think separates it from Dark Souls and Bloodborne and other games like that. It definitely has influence from those games. I mean, don't get it twisted, of course. This game is heavily inspired by those games. By the UI, for example, looks a lot like Dark Souls. The health and stamina meters, of course. The fact that there is stamina, and that's something you have to worry about, is of course something that us Dark Souls and Bloodborne players are pretty much used to. Difficulty, of course, is there. The items definitely have a nod to the Soulsborne franchise as well. And then of course the combat. I mean, you can see it right in front of you. Definitely heavily influenced by games like Dark Souls. So pretty much if you want to describe this game to a friend and they ask you, what is this game about? You could pretty much tell them it's like a samurai Dark Souls. That's pretty much the way people have been describing it. It's pretty spot on. What separates this game though is the key pulse. This is definitely a feature in this game that I haven't really dealt with before. It's something to kind of add to the experience and the difficulty as well. If you can get this down, it can help you a lot in this game. I feel like it's very much needed. It's something that you should learn as fast as you can because it can definitely help you become better in this game. What the key pulse is a way to regenerate your ki, which is basically your stamina. And you would think on paper that this is cheating or this is something that doesn't belong there, it makes it too easy. It's definitely not that, okay? It's needed in this game. I think it helps balance the game, it helps balance the difficulty, because when it comes to fighting these enemies, even the smallest of enemies, the basic enemies, you can run out of ki extremely fast. And once you run out and you're kind of staggered a bit, you can't do anything. At least that was my experience. There were times I'd run out before I learned the key pulse, and I would almost just become frozen. Like I couldn't move. I was definitely dead at that point. I would even say to myself, I'm dead. And of course I was, because it would just happen. So regenerating this key pulse is a huge thing in this game. I feel like it's very much needed and it definitely balances the game. Think of it as an active reload in Gears of War. Here you active reload your ki, your stamina. And like I said, this comes in very handy. You almost really need it to survive, especially when you're fighting bosses and stuff like that. You're definitely going to run out of ki at some point. And if you can hit that regeneration, you can hit that reload, if you want to call it that, it really helps. And to know when you're going to use this thing is you'll have visual cues. You can look at the meter, which will turn white. That's a cue. And then also you have these kind of blue-like flurries that are kind of floating around your enemies and around your character when you are about to run out. That's when you want to hit it. And by hitting it, you would hit the R1 button. So it's kind of like collecting souls really fast or something like that. It kind of has that feel to it. But it's your ki, you know, it's your own personal stamina. And this is definitely something that's different in this game. I like this element of the game. I think it gives it its own personality and it kind of helps you focus your gameplay around it. Also in this game you have combat stances. You have the low, the mid, and the high. This gives you different attack patterns and it has its pros and cons. Like for example, you have the low, which deals less damage, but your dodge is improved, it's quicker. Whereas with the high stance, you deal more damage, but your dodge is a little bit compromised. So of course mid is in the middle somewhere, it's kind of the most balanced, but you would think, okay, I'll just use mid all the time. That doesn't really work either. You kind of have to pick and choose depending on the enemy. For example, there's an enemy that they crawl on the ground and they'll stand to attack you, but then they'll immediately fall, kind of like a zombie in a way. Like they're just kind of crawling at you and they seem kind of dumb. I always call them the drunk enemies because they just seem like a bunch of drunks that are just falling all the time. This is where you would use the high stance because your high attack, you are going to attack from top to bottom. You're going to have an overhead attack. Whereas with the mid and low, you're kind of swinging side to side. So if these guys are crawling, you're not going to want to swing side to side because you're going to miss them. You want the overhead hits. So that's where you kind of have to pick and choose which stance you're going to use, especially with bosses and stuff like that. If you want to have more attack, you want to have more damage dealt on them, you might want to go for that high attack, but then you have to remember that your dodges probably aren't going to be as quick. So there's a compromise there. There's something you have to think about. So that definitely separates this game and makes it even more unique. I think it complements the game very well since you're using spears and katanas and weapons like that. It can get you to see that there's different combos you can do, different attack patterns and stuff like that. You can also use the triangle to perform execution-like finishers if you wanted to. Sometimes it doesn't kill the enemy, but it'll definitely take advantage of them if they're on the ground, they're staggered. It will let you know with like a red circle right in the center of their chest or whatever that you can perform that action. And those are pretty cool as well. Those are something that I wish were in Dark Souls and Bloodborne. I would love some finishers. And there's some crazy stuff going on in this game. You can take off heads. You can, like I said, with the finishers, you can take them down when they're down and just finish them off. I think it just adds to the game, makes it more exciting, and it gets you in that rhythm and that flow of just really excellent combat. Kind of like a Shadow of Mordor or something like that. If you get on a roll and you're hitting those dodges and you're hitting those triangles when you need to, it can feel really good. So I'm definitely enjoying the combat in this game. I think there's enough difference here from this game to Dark Souls or something like that because, I'm not, even though I feel this game does mimic Dark Souls in certain ways, I still feel like it's its own game and it feels good, it feels fresh. And speaking of fresh, I'm definitely feeling like a noob again in this game. I started thinking that I feel like this is Bloodborne all over again, and by that I don't just mean the combat and stuff like that. I mean the actual experience, because when I first played Bloodborne, that was my first Soulsborne game. So at the beginning, you guys know that beginning area with all of those enemies, and you have to kind of figure out how to get that shortcut. Just trying to figure that all out. Trying to figure out what items do what. And trying to just figure out what to do and how not to die. That experience, I'm definitely feeling again in this game. I feel like I'm a noob. I feel like I'm learning things for the first time again, and I'm just kind of wandering around this first initial area and spending a lot of time there, just trying to figure out what to do, where to go, how not to die. And that comes with every single enemy, and that's exactly what I was feeling with Bloodborne. So I'm kind of having those feelings again. But because of these new elements and new things that I have to learn, it's like, man, I'm a rookie all over again. This is fresh. This feels good. And I enjoy the struggle in a weird way. And I know I always say that, but I do. It's like I'm playing this type of game for the first time again. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying the game. I just fought one boss so far. I beat that boss, so I'm still going to keep playing. I think after every boss you beat, you unlock some DLC for the future. I know that it sent me to the PSN store to claim it, like a piece of DLC after I beat that boss. So that was pretty cool. So if you guys want incentive to keep playing and try and beat this demo, do it. Because if you're going to buy this game, it's going to come in handy to have that DLC. I'm all for that. I mean, if I can get it free, that's cool. So that's a cool thing they did. I appreciate that from the developers. I think this game is definitely a gem, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's basically my first impressions for you guys. As far as things I don't like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. There's been times where I feel like my hits weren't working when you press square to perform an attack. There were times it just wouldn't happen. I'm assuming that's going to get fixed. It doesn't happen all the time. But there were times where I definitely had my key and I had stamina and it just wasn't happening. So I'm not sure what's up with that. That happened a few times during the boss battle that I had. But other than that, I mean, it's just been a lot of me just having to learn to be better at the game. It's no fair to complain about something that I have control of. I just need to get better at. When it comes to dodging and stuff like that, there may be times where I feel like, this is kind of messy. This doesn't feel right. But in reality, it's just me not being that great and that I need to get better. So I'm not going to complain about things like that because I know that it's on point. It's just that I'm not. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to really complain about besides the once in a while my attack wouldn't work. That's really the only thing that I can think of, and I'm assuming that will get fixed. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about the the key pulls and the new combat stuff that we're seeing in this game. It's different for me, so I'm curious if you guys are new to this type of stuff. How do you feel about this game just in general? Let me know. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.